Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 24. Today we're playing a little bit of Stony Suppressor Scouts. And so, if you're one of our seasoned veterans, one of our followers of the channel for a while, we have been playing Scouts quite a bit. I've only done one Battles with Bust video on it in terms of playing Constructed, but we've been playing it as one of our core decks in our gauntlet every week. We didn't play it this week, but the past 4 weeks we've definitely brought in the Stony Suppressor Scouts. We've made a few tweaks to it here and there, but this has been our real bread and butter archetype. And so Scouts, I mean, in terms of how it's handling in the meta right now, it's got like a 54% win rate out here or something. It's actually doing quite well, especially for a deck that's only being played across about 1.5% of all of the matches. It doesn't have a particularly strong matchup against the Sundisk deck. It's basically coin flipping there. Has a slight coin flip disadvantage against the Victor decks, and of course it gets annihilated by Ezreal Caitlyn. But the thing that really drew us to this deck in the past, and why we were playing it in the Gauntlet so much, is like none of its matchups are bad if you just ban Pantheon, right? A few weeks ago, nobody was playing Ezreal Caitlyn's. The matchups against like Darkness and all the various control decks are pretty good, as long as it's not one of these weird decks to where they're just playing like Avalanche plus Blighted Ravine plus Withering Whale that's just like super set up to annihilate you. That everything was pretty positive in terms of matchups and win rates. And I think that's still the case with the deck today. I think everyone is out here playing all of the new cards, all of the changes that just happened with the recent set. Nobody except us is playing Scouts because no one else likes to have fun. And that's just kind of the state of the meta. I think given another week or two, when you come back to the meta tier list, that Scouts is going to be up. If not up in S tier, at the top of A tier. I think this is still a really powerful deck. And so back to the actual deck itself, the kind of the big idea that we've taken with this and what we really like to run with it is with the Stony Suppressor. And so it is a fantastic card these days. I've been like racking my brain trying to figure out ways to get Stony Suppressor into our decks. It's just completely bonkers against the likes of all of the Victor decks. Victor does not like to pay mana for his augments. They don't like to pay mana for reforges. They don't like to pay mana for poro cannons. They don't like to pay mana to get their ambushes going. And so it just does a fantastic job of shutting down the decks. It's not like it's some kind of auto win, but if your opponent has to now like play off curve and invest an extra 2 mana into Stony Suppressor, that's mana they're not investing in your aggression. It all works out quite nicely against those decks. Ezreal Caitlyn has a real problem dealing with these things. And I'm kind of curious to the fact of playing against like the Sundisk, if you can make them spend an extra 2 or 3 mana. If that won't result in them being like a turn behind in terms of getting the Sundisk out there and active. And so always been a pretty big fan of it. In terms of the rest of the deck, we typically have these like handful of flex spots between here you're seeing us play Genvivi, but it's typically Genvivi, Island Navigator, deciding if we want to play 2 or 3 copies of Stony Suppressor, and then the Mirai Warden. The cards that we will play sometimes that we aren't seeing here are the Umbrella Maker, whatever the 1/1 is for one, or the 2/2 for 1 mana that makes a tattered banner. And then otherwise it's just kind of mixing and matching these numbers depending on how aggressive the format is, how much 1 damage ping is running around, do we want to play Radiant Guardian, just a bunch of things like that. And so where we're kind of coming at with the numbers today, as we assume we're going to be playing quite a bit against the Sundisk, I just want to have as much punch as we can. I really want to be able to get in here and set up these turns to where we're either playing a 4 Demacia off the Vanguard Sergeant and then rallying, or we're playing Genvivi and then rallying. One or the other. You can kind of fit Cytheria in there. I'm not entirely sure if I wouldn't prefer to just play 2 Genvivis and 2 Cytherias. Just you get the bigger attack twice out of Genvivi, as opposed to where Cytheria can't make scout attacks. But I'm pretty certain we want to have, the 4 of these. Beyond 4, you tend to draw too many of them. And then up here, I'm playing the Mirai Warden. as opposed to the Umbrella Maker. It just gets us the most stats on board as fast as we can against the likes of the Sun Disk deck. That's where our aggression is really going to be important, as we do have, additional dirtily cards here in the Stony Suppressor and the Durand Sculptor. But otherwise, pretty straightforward in terms of what you'll see out of your Scouts decks. Just the big addition that we run here that we don't really see anywhere else is the Stony Suppressor. And so that's the deck. That's what we'll be taking into battle. Before we get there, you know what we have to do. We have to turn something premium. And today it is going to be Cytherea. All of the commons premium, all of the rares premium. I thought we were going to have to move in on the champions, but both Cytherea and Jin Vivi are unpremiumed. And so here she goes. Gets that premium status, ready to attack right through all the formidables. And let's get ourselves to battle. So cool. Yeah, she's unfortunately it's not marked in the favorites anymore. It's just I wasn't like super comfortable bringing scouts to our lineup this week and the gauntlet this week. We were looking to pick on the Sun Disk decks, and so you can just do better against the Sun Disk than what Scouts brings. The thing against the Sun Disk is you either have to be able to punch through it with overwhelms, run around it with elusives, or get the rally attacks. But we can get the rally attacks, but the other two things are just way more powerful and way more efficient. And so I don't really want to bring a deck that only coin flipped against the likes of the Sun Disk. Okay, well, we'll hang on to our misfortune here. Of course, Sharp Sight is a little bit weaker these days, but it is nice still with all of the victors running around and all the ambush decks and having the way to give our units the elusive block. And so, I mean, I've been kind of like curious how we would want to pick on Victor, and it's like I was considering putting Make It Rain into this deck. That was the the best answer we have to like Poro Cannon is just dropping Make It Rains in here. But it's kind of awkward when you're playing both Make It Rain and you're playing Stony Suppressors. All right, let's continue on this aggression here. Nice little curve that we've assembled today. Hopefully we'll get to attack with Misfortune. Depends on what their unit is here, but we should be able to start slamming this turn. Okay. Here comes the squad. We'll hook kill the Camaveran soldier. The Misfortune love tap should take down whatever the encroaching mist is trying to do. Look at that. We get in for that sweet ass 1 point of damage. Come in and boom them hard. All right, lots of big power for our next attack. Yeah, I'll block, my dude. I'll get in here. Drop the unit in front. Didn't change his mind. All right. I was curious if that was going to be like him moving on to having a what's it called, like a Vile Feast or something, and being able to take down a Broadwing in combat. Doesn't look like it's the case. And this is going to be like, I was like, is this going to be a 7-mana Vengeance? That would be pretty sweet. This is ultimately pretty awkward with the Unleashed Spirit, but it kind of is what it is. All right, get in for that point of damage again. Really, really bring in the heat today. Oh, what's this one? Giving an ephemeral to Misfortune. Sad day. Sad day for Misfortune, but not the end of the world. What form will the waters take? So rip Misfortune, but we should be able to get Cytherea down. She at least helps end a lot of these shenanigans where our opponent is taking down, or our opponent is able to block with all of these little 1/1s. Expecting a pretty choice rally attack next turn. looking to sharp sight through this. I'm curious if he's actually going to pick on the Stony Suppressor just to try and get it off the board. Now it goes for a Broadwing. That's fine. I want to protect it. And then this 2 damage from the Encroaching Mist is pretty irrelevant. Alright, let's bring the booms. Looks like a lethal if he doesn't have anything. Just bring in the full amount of thunder. Get spend 7 mana on a Vengeance. Sure, I remember the days of having to do that. We should just be lethal here. We've got plenty on board, but let's just go ahead and drop the Mirai Warden just in case. Oh, we even get a free mana out of it. Nice little discount. There it is. 1-0. Mark it a W for bust. I knew our Stony Suppressors could do it. If you're just out here watching one game, you get to see the Suppressor do its thing. Feels pretty good. All right, on to the next one. But yeah, that was one of the things. Like in terms of the make it rain, right? It's like, how do we really come out here and pick on this Victor deck and look to deal with it? You want to have like 1 damage AOE's, and you want to have the Stony Suppressor. And I kept trying to look at like Freylord plus Bilgewater kind of Gangplank Sejuani style decks to get access to the AoEs to pick on the Poros, but none of it really felt powerful enough. It just seems like we'd rather just be out here attacking and stuff, and wasn't real happy with it. But here, this is not the place for Stony Suppressors against Gnar Darius. We actually played this deck in our previous Gauntlet video, and had quite a bit of success with it. But the only like real spell coming out of this we care about is Troll Chant, and I'm not super interested in trying to deal with that. So here I will protect our unit. They are looking to play either the 3-2 deal of damage to both players, or they're looking to do the 3-1 tough. And I would prefer to have a value attack on this board if we can. And then if he doesn't offer it up to us, we can potentially pick on that unit next turn. I think this is pretty good. And there's the Ruthless Raider, exactly what we were looking to hook with the tracker. But got ourselves a pretty good curve going here. We're most certainly looking to just play Misfortune this turn. And then we'll just have to kind of pick and choose what we want to do next turn. We'll still run her out here. This looks like he's about to drop a Troll Chant on us. And so if that's the case, I'm just going to block 1 unit. Right? If he leaves the 2 mana up and attacks with both, he's just going to be trying to Troll Chant us. Can be like awkward for him. We could technically get a takedown on the Saboteur. Right? This isn't able to withstand a 3-attack unit out of a Troll Chant. So, interesting. Bringing it? Bringing the Saboteur? Nope.
My kind of party. No closer.
Okay. So we take 2 damage this way. Not that bad. And then we can pick on the Saboteur next turn. So I'm going to lead with a Broadwing here. I don't think we're going to get the time to play Duran Sculptor. And this is basically just going to come down to, like, do we want to get 2 challengers on the board this turn? Which we're probably going to want to do. I really like the idea of next turn being able to block with Misfortune and a barrier. And so probably just look to take down the Tusk Speaker here. Alright, not bad. Like seeing an opponent have an empty board. We're pretty healthily above 10, so Darius isn't a super scary unit at this point. I like what's happening here. Should probably protect the Broadwing out of this.
Got your back.
So the Gnar is actually one of the big reasons we were pretty interested in playing the Stony Suppressors after running into the worlds of Gnar and Conchologist and all of their friends, the entire Bandle City card generation package. And so it's kind of interesting trying to deal with him these days. But how do we feel about this one? I think we just open here, right? We're going to punch for 9, probably kill Gnar, and then be able to re-attack for the remaining 3. Enjoy. This can be like problematic if he has an answer to this misfortune here, because the Duran Sculptor is not lethal without the left tap. She's probably legal. She looks to be of appropriate age, but needed that 1 point of damage potentially. He might also be able to like troll chant out of this. Nope, just getting boomed. Awesome. All right, 2 wins under our belt.
I'm the captain.
0 sun discs, 2 wins. It's wild. Like you do actually hear about the devs talk about sometimes it's like a meta can be too diverse, right? Whenever you're playing Magic and there's only like 5 relevant decks, you can really kind of like pick and choose and edit your lineup and edit your deck list based on what you expect your opponents to be playing. And if you're running into just like swaths of everything, then it tends to just push kind of general decks towards your opponents. But I don't think we're quite at that space. It's just kind of odd that we played through the entirety of that the previous gauntlet without seeing the sun disk, and then we haven't come across it yet today either. But here, we have to be as defensive as we can against the Elise burn deck. And so if we can take down the Fearsome unit, I'm happy to do that because the Fleet Feather Tracker can't block Fearsomes. Like, yes, we have Brightsteel Protector to try and get a barrier hook next turn, but not the game plan here whatsoever. We just have to do everything that we can to prevent damage coming at us. Really miss your 4th health, my dude. He was so good at coming down here and blocking the 3 attack Fearsomes and surviving and doing stuff the next turn. Not anymore.
Nice to meet you. I'm Isla.
All right, missed with the Warden. A little unfortunate, but not the end of the world. Discipline and steel. Okay. We'll keep everybody else back defensively. This is one of these spaces to where we have like all of the late game power between Genvivi and 4 Demacias. If we ever get an attack with our width, we should be in a pretty crushing position. But if we have to just trade away all of our units, we can never get built up to that big board. But, I mean, playing against the Elise Burn deck, if he opens here, we take down 2 of his units, take 1 damage, and fall to 16 at this stage of the game, that feels like a pretty big win. But how do we feel about this one? It's like, do we want to play the Protector or the Vanguard Sergeant? And I'm leaning towards just dropping another Vanguard Sergeant. We're not going to be doing anything with the mana, the banked mana. Like, we're most certainly playing Quinn next turn. So, I think this is fine. I think where we would have to stop and think about it is, like, if we want to play Genvivi on turn 7, and then have the full 3 spell mana banked up so that we can Genvivi plus Golden Aegis, then that's where we're going to be hurting by taking this angle. Okay. But couldn't get 2 units down on the board this turn. That's a little unfortunate, but it is what it is. Just prevent as much damage as we can here.
I protect my own.
We'll block like this. If he has a, it's like the quest. He's not going to be able to save any of his units. I'm going to say if he plays like a combat trick to save something, how do we want to handle this? But I don't think we need to like block the worst unit with the sergeant to try and prevent. Is that quick attack? Damn. How sick was that going to be if we just nailed the quick attack fragment and got to a quick attack challenge with the Quinn bird twice? I can tell you now that would have been pretty choice. Now, the mistake that you'll see a lot of people make in this spot is we can't, like, trade. Right? This is like, if we attack with the Vanguard Sergeant, even say he blocks with his best unit, Imperial Demolitionist, that leaves us in a pretty bad spot. Because he's going to be able to refill his board much easier than we can refill our board. So we'll take these Quinn attacks. These should be pretty free. She should still be able to block next turn, even if he's dropping units in front of ours. But if we say attack with this Valor and attack with this Vanguard Sergeant, drop him down to, say, 4 units, and then he can easily get back up to 6 while we never can. And so, wanted to be a little bit defensive here. So we can't play 2 units this turn, so we're going to look to be playing the Bright Steel and a Golden Aegis. I'll put the initial Bright Steel onto Valor, so she can hopefully block and then get in another attack. But might be dead here. Well, we should only be taking 2. We're of course going to block his 4 biggest units. Fall to 8, he would need double decimate. We should be fairly safe.
Meet them head on.
Got you in my sights.
Take 2. It's kind of risky to lose Quinn here. I don't think we want to attack with Quinn. Like, this is pretty good. Just taking down the Spiderling. Now, if he doesn't play another unit, we can attack with Quinn and the Quinn Bird, and then the fresh Valor will take down the Spiderling.
Still heart, steady aim.
Yeah. Double check. Check that Oracle's Eye. Make sure that extra unit's coming out. Looking pretty good. Uh-oh. Somebody's face palming. Bringing some cupcake. Cupcake's what it's all about. Best emote in the game. Precious pet, okay. So we should be pretty safe from getting burned out. We don't have to worry about some kind of some kind of double double decimate play.
There's nothing like it. It's beautiful, isn't it?
We're all good here. There's the decimate. How do we get in here? Boom. Drop the cat emote.
Scouting ahead.
That's a lethal.
Stay on the target.
Nice. GG, my dude. Okay. 3-0. Not a bad start. Climbing right to the top. Almost rank 1. Almost there. It's so weird to me that they show your ranking in terms of LP and not in terms of distance from first. It's like there's no meaning behind what your number of LP is. Like, it's a good thing to know, I guess, if you're like trying to hit some kind of goal. But like, what is the rank 1 guy in terms of LP now? Like, I don't know, 700. And then how many people are above 200? Like, there's just like no point of reference in terms of what that LP actually means. It's so strange that they weren't just like, yeah, let's make this first place, distance from first. Here, I think this is okay to shoot for the trade. Looks like he's playing the Sentinel's control deck. Very easy for him to have Vile Feast kind of cards to take down our bird. And we can just drop Stony Suppressors and see what happens. All the Stony Suppressors. Ooh, Elise. This must not be the deck I'm thinking it is. Okay. Take the 2. Is this some kind of atrocity deck? That's that's what I assume every time I see Vi now. Is they're just going to be trying to send 10 to our Nug. A little scary. If he has a Vile Feast, it really shuts down the Broadwing attack into Elise, but going for it. What do we do if he passes? If he passes, do we just pass? Kind of like it. And then just start dropping double suppressors. Say, I hope you weren't planning on playing any Mystic Shots today. Might just disconnect and say, oh, that's too much. That's too much for me, Bust. There's the Vile Feast. Wow. I'm really surprised you didn't wait till he got into combat. Okay. We'll just start having to build up to these Vanguard Sergeant style boards. LOL, it's a Stony Suppressor. Have fun playing those spells to get the spell slays. It just does 1 damage, right? Or does that still deal 3? What? Oh, it spends all of your mana? Oh, that's stupid. That's stupid. Give me a moment while I get salty. Thermogenic Beam. That was completely off my radar as being something. I swore that cost extra mana compared to the suppressors. Well, let's see what Misfortune can do. Not a lot. Not a lot. Nope. If he opens on us, it's not like the end of the world, but it is pretty bad. I'd like to get the Island Navigator down. Okay. I can work with this. Now, the problem is a bunch of these units have Fearsome, so we can't be dropping like the Broadwings. We can't throw Waking Sands down. But I was really hoping to get a Scout attack in this turn and then an attack back next turn to get the Misfortune flip happening. I think I'm okay with this. So we can put the 2/4 in front of the Archivist. We can put Misfortune in front of probably the Buru Sentinel. Put the Stony Suppressor in front of the Spiderling. Is this really going to be another 2 damage Thermogenic Beam? To play, spend all of your mana. It's so lame how that works. Okay.
I ought to show you the sights of Bilgewater. The sights are fine. The smells, on the other hand.
The smells, on the other hand.
Just like hunting thresher geese.
This is our way.
All right, let's see where this one gets us. Happy enough to trade out Quinn. I mean, he's only got 2 cards in hand, and we're about to start boosting up this Misfortune. And so I think this is a win. Get 2 attacks this turn. She'll be back to being flipped next turn.
There's nothing to fear.
Do we even take down the Elise? It's like she's not that scary, but we do need a blocker for next turn. But it's like she's less damage than these burgeoning sentinels are. I think I like it. Okay, let's just bank. Probably playing this Waking Sands as fast as we can. And that was as fast as we could. we most certainly did it as fast as we could. Takes us to 7. We should still be out of atrocity range, and then we're going to have a 4 Demacia next turn. And a flipped Misfortune. Seems pretty strong. Alright. Alright, make some grumble noises.
A Demacian soldier is worth 10 foes.
Alright, give us a good unit here. Well, Misfortune's a unit, and a good one.
Fortune favors the bold.
The ocean is no place for the weak.
We do have the mana for everything, so if we get popped by the Ruination, then fine, dude. You've got me with everything today. But I think we're in a pretty decent spot otherwise. Commander Ladros. Okay. I think we beat that. Right. He can't stop our scout attack. Yep, you get your commander back, it dies to the scout. Then our smallest units are enough to get the kill. Sweet, almost top right that one. I shouldn't have given up on our squad.
Smile.
There, we are too strong for that. So I'm telling y'all, the scouts are what it's all about. That's pretty lame though. Like with the thermogenic beams and the Stony suppressors. I'm surprised we've never run up into that up to this point. I was pretty sure that it added a cost to make it not cost 0 anymore. Maybe it's just that I don't know. With 2 of them on board, maybe you just can't play it for 1 mana, but that's weird. I mean, it makes sense as to where he spent all of his mana to do that, but All right. Our first battle with one of the new decks of the day. And this is the exact kind of thing where we're talking about Stony Suppressor being cool. It's like, sure, he can throw Calibrum or whatever the spell the 3 damage to a Faller one is right at the Suppressor, but it is quite a bit of work for him to come in and have to keep up with this stuff. But, I mean, the Victor generates all of these spells. The 0-cost hex cores make them cost more mana. Aphelios, of course, has all the moon weapons. Just makes them do a little bit more work that really shuts down their aggression. I'm going to take the slow route here. Since he killed off our bird, we'll start with the Durand Sculptor and then start dropping the big broad wings and such.
Little reinforcement at the seams.
You weren't supposed to play a unit that would kill ours. Let's just wait. We can drop like a Ranger's Resolve onto this dum-dum, but that just doesn't feel like a positive turn. Oh, it feels a little bit different now that we drew a second Broadwing. Because we're like most certainly playing Quinn on our next turn. Okay.
Slight adjustment.
We don't bank the mana, right? I don't think we ever bank the mana. We want to just get big attacks in. I don't want to be too clever against this deck.
My field is yours.
Interesting. So you're gonna drop a double stun onto our Broadwing. That's like a very aggressive Aphelios to drop on the board. Okay. Gravitum.
Demacia needs heroes.
Yeah, that's a bit better.
Alright, Quinn's ready for action. Let's battle. This should be a decent Ranger's Resolve. We can hook in the Dustbringer with the Ranger's Resolve and then re-hook something else post-combat, or combat number 2. Regular attack, not scout attack. whatever we're calling it these days. Victor. Interesting. Because we can actually Ranger's Resolve into Victor now, and then take him down with the second attack. I think I really like this.
Scouting ahead.
Just make him have the 1 damage spell. Shouldn't be able to have it. Guarantee you he's going to play the Hex Core and be like, herder, tough. That's oh, is it going to... Can't be Pale Cascade. That's not the way the game works. Oh, I see what happened. I see what happened. Well, it's not ideal, but not the end of the world. Elusive, awesome.
Guide me. You leave me no recourse.
Okay. Quinn's pretty big. Ready for battle next turn. Let's see how this plays out. It's like if he kills some stuff, I kind of want to get the Island Navigator down so that we can get safe attacks in with Quinn. But let's wait and see. Academy Prodigy. He's going to be attacking with something this turn.
Every work demands a piece of ourselves.
Then we can use Cithria on the second attack next turn. Yep, and this looks like a pretty safe pass as well. We're not like advertising that we're doing something weird, right? We're just banking 3 mana if we want, just 1 space on the board. I think this is fine. Still expect him to attack. I mean, I'll throw a Brightsteel Protector in front of the Prodigy or something if he comes in, but he's at least attacking with Victor, right? There's no way this Victor doesn't attack. All right. Well, we lose out on the scout unit. What was it? I bet it was impressive. Otterpuss? Man, we missed out on a prank and a mana. Life is hard. Life is hard. Oh, should we have waited on the moon weapon? Maybe we should have waited on the moon weapon. Then we would have gotten our Otterpuss.
Take your time.
I thought there's a pretty good chance the turn was just going to end here. A little sloppy, but we'll make it through.
Spilled paint is just accidental art.
This card's Get Excited. Interesting. Comes the 3 damage to something. Onto the bird. Okay. Looks like he's doing a bit of Aphelios protecting. Maybe Victor protecting. Somebody protecting.
This is our way.
This is going to be a little bit too tough to punch through. I think we've probably lost this one. Let's see, if Victor's going to go down to 1 health, we can potentially Cithria into Victor. He's been making a lot of these very, very suspect plays in regards to protecting Victor. Okay. not the end of the world. We're really just losing out on the Quinn bird.
And a long path to get
I'm gonna swing with everybody. Can't block with it. Well, you can block Cithria with one of the smalls, but the other ones I'm happy to just to trade off. Like the Academy Prodigy onto the Duran Sculptor kind of sucks, but we need to get just these small units upgraded out into our good units. Alright, what you got for us? Picks up a double stun. Okay, this one's done. This guy plays too slow and this is going to take forever. So, mark it a 4-1, move on to the next one.
Not broken.
Alright, off we go. So yeah, what we did there, that is a completely valid strategy. If you're in a game to where your opponent's playing slow and it doesn't seem like you're going to be able to win, you know, it's not to say we couldn't have won that game, but the percentage chance we did it would have been pretty low. And you're better off just playing more games. It's just that's the long and short of it in terms of getting through on the ladder. Is it's why control decks aren't that great, because they just take forever to win games. And it's like if you have a 65% win rate with a control deck, but it takes you 10 minutes to win a game, to where if you have a 60% win rate with an aggro deck that takes you 5 minutes to win a game, doesn't matter that you aren't winning at a higher win rate. You're going to just smash through so much faster with all those extra games that you're getting. And that's essentially what happened in that previous one. Could have played it out just for the funsies and stuff, but very low percentage chance we were going to win it, and also a
Favors the bold.
just move on. All right. Yeah, this is a collection of units that are problematic. I thought we were going to be able to really pick on this board with a misfortune, but not quite the case. But we have to get something in. I'm not really amped about giving them a sarcophagus, but just is what it is. If he has the removal spell to kill our misfortune, we're going to have a really tough time winning this game. But if we're able to get our Island Navigator going, we can turn things around quickly. We have big scout attacks next turn with Island Navigator plus Quinn. I rolled that Omen Hawk, but still don't even want to play any of the units. All about these scout attacks.
If it was important, they should have
Yep.
built it better. Where there is a rock, there's a rock.
Sad noises. I think we can still play the Navigator. And then, like, we can use the Navigator to block some of this. We're going to have to take the 5 hit off the Devout, but we can throw the Navigator in front of some of these smaller units. And we should be able to safely block with Misfortune as well. We can do one of these. You block the big boy. Take the damage off the Naturalist. I kind of want to leave the Treasure Seeker behind, though, because we're going to hook it in with the Quinn Bird next turn. Okay. It is kind of an interesting gem to pick up. We can use it to attack up the curve with our Quinn if we want.
I gotta show you the sights of Bilgewater.
But I feel like this game would be like close to locked in if we had a Golden Aegeus. Without the rally, it's kind of meh. He's going to be able to pop off here really soon. Yeah. Sad noises. It's just the have-it-alls this game. Like, this is the terrible spot you run into with playing against the Sun Disk deck is that we really want to just keep their board full. Like in this space, because we're not getting ahead here, right? We're just clearing out stuff. He's easily going to refill his board. And this is like just playing to exactly how he wants the game to go. Gotta find a rally and a way to boost all of our units. See, this is why we want to keep their board full. Keeps him from adding stuff with the Roiling Sands.
Every work demands a piece of ourselves.
Have to play a 2-drop this turn that isn't Stony Suppressor, and then we can sharp sight through the Endless Devout. So let's do the Sculptor.
I sculpt what others only
Not amped about it, but it'll get the job done this turn. And we can try and turn things around with this Quinn. How close is he? Xerath's one away. They're both of his champions are basically flipped. Bringing it. Bringing the sharp sight. It's coming right in. This is still coming in. Still bringing the sharp sight. So a little unfortunate to give him the summon, but it is what it is.
Nothing gets between me and my mark.
We'll find our enemies wherever they hide.
And I thought they
Yeah, I gotta do this combo again. People don't usually play Desert Naturalist. This is kind of odd to see coming out of the Sun Disk.
still heart, steady aim.
Okay. It's a trap.
A little further. Bingo.
Yeah, that's a bit better.
I wonder what he's playing for that. I mean, maybe he isn't playing like the champion drawing cards or something. Not sure.
Needs a finishing touch.
Gonna go ahead and attack with our vulnerables. He's got like the 2 Waking Sands in hand. Let's go ahead and like spread out some damage where we can. It's not important to give the units in our hand these health bonuses anymore. Okay, there's a rally. Don't have the really choice stuff to go with it, but maybe we'll get something happening here.
You need not follow, but you will witness.
Just like we really need to be having a Genvivi or need to be having a Cythria or having a Vanguard Sergeant for the Fort Demacia once we do this rally. This just doesn't feel like enough. See if he drops the Xerath on us in the same turn. And just says, "What up, dude? By the way, I just actually have everything." Okay.
A little reinforcement at the seams.
So, like, my intent for the turn is I'm going to attack with Island Navigator. The actual have-it-alls. I'm not watching all these animations. Okay. I really wish they would do something about that. But, could have potentially done something there, but that was going to be a real tough space to actually beat the Sun Disk. Just a little bit too slow. That was weird to me, seeing the Naturalists, though. Typically not something we see coming out of the Sun Disk lists. Maybe, I don't know if that's just an evolution or just what that guy's doing, but interesting. Okay, we got the full curve in hand, but I like to have like a. I don't like hanging on to these 4-drops. I like to really search for our misfortunes a little bit more. But I am happy enough with the Fleet Feather Tracker and the Broadwing. Let's get rid of the Sergeant and look for misfortunes. All right, not a bad start. I'm going to lead with the Broadwing here. It's still enough to take down action. It does the same amount of damage as the Bright Steel, and then we can use it defensively next turn if we need to. Use the Bright Steel defensively next turn if we need to. Okay. He plays, I was going to say, if he plays action, it's not like a horrible spot for us to just pass. We don't have anything to really do anyways. So I think that felt kind of okay. Now he's in this awkward spot to where it kind of sucks to play units against us and probably doesn't want to just get domed for 9. Maybe he does. Maybe he does want to just get domed for 9. People, some people like that kind of thing. What you gonna do, my dude? Just dropping naturalists, huh? Interesting. We do have the option to try and sharp sight it down, but I feel like we just want to save the sharp sight for a like relevant combat. This one doesn't feel super relevant. Like at the end of the day, if his angle is to Desert Naturalist the Brightsteel Protector, then sure. Yeah. No complaints from this side of the board. Wow, everything has just gone wrong for this dude. Got the one landmark for Talia. Not a good angle for the Talia Zig stack.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. I assure you, we're going to get a amazing sharp sight at some point. Just not, just not right there. So we'll start with this one up against the Talia. Try and take her down, and then we'll have an option after this as to whether or not we want to go for the Misfortune Petrosite Broadwing, or if we want to go for Cythria. I'm leaning towards the Misfortune play, but I was curious how he would handle this open. I don't hate playing Sharp Sight, but he has to just have like a handful of spells at this point. So we do miss a tick up on Misfortune like that. We left the Talia on board, but I think I'm okay with it. Sure.
I'm one of the good guys, but not that good.
Bring in the heat, my dude. I'm just gonna lethal him. Technically have a lethal here.
Still heart, steady aim. Set sail.
Right, if we attack in like this, we have 6 from our units, 1 from Sharp Sight, 1 from the left tap.
I suppose you'll do.
I don't think there's any way out of this. It's down to 1 mana. Game says 0. Opponent says emote. Cupcake it. All right, 5 and 2. Guaranteed to have that positive win rate today. Get ourselves right up in that final battle. Looking good to me.
Now let's get back out there.
Getting right back out there. You tell him, Quinn. Right, off we go. Ooh, the opponent has been found. Bet they're playing the Sun Disc. No. Nah, we're wrong. Lulu Fizz. Can be problematic. Decent enough start here with 2-drop dot deck, apparently. I don't super like playing the Duran Sculptor on turn 2. Maybe we should have, like... It's like, I have big plans for this Petricite Broadwing, but I'm curious if we shouldn't have mulliganed away, like, one of these Brightsteel Protectors or something. So many Brightsteels. The trifecta, if you will. Guess we see how aggressive they come out here. It's like, if they play like a Fizz into a Boom Baboon, then we're not going to be super happy with the Sculptor. Yeah, I think we have to play the Broadwing. Well, if he opens on us, it could be a different story, but like if he opens, we play the Sculptor and then Broadwing into the Flame Chompers. I think I actually like that. Just get it off the board before he's able to upgrade it with Lulu. Sure. Yeah, that seems fine. Oh, it's a grenade. I was like, what are these little, like, shiny lights coming off of the Flame Chompers? Dude's a grenade. It's a grenade with a mouth on it. Somebody out there's going to be like, Bust is about to call this thing a bird. Out here with the fearsome dogs. It's apparently a bird. Y'all don't know shit. That's definitely a dog. If you're not familiar, I don't even know the name of the card anymore. The hound thing, whatever it was called. Fearsome hound. Curious. I think we want to sharp sight through this. We're about to be like spending a ton of mana. Kind of like I was happy with the block here because we could just throw our unit in front of the Zonite Urchin, and then we could even give a barrier if we want. Seems okay. And do we want to bring in Quinn? It's like I was really hoping to get some usage out of these Brightsteels, but it's like where this gets awkward is if we need to do some blocking next turn. I think, but it's like a lot of our attacks just don't win this turn. I think let's do this. Let's send in our scouts. He can take the trade onto the soldier with the 2/1. Then we'll double Brightsteel our big units and call it a day. Interesting. Sure. So did we ever change our mind and just play Quinn? Now that the board is empty? Could just defensively play 3 Brightsteels next turn. I mean, that's one way to get the job done, right? Maybe he'll just play this Flame Chompers. Alright, I mean, it seems positive. I don't think we have to worry about a big kill or anything this turn. Yeah, he's playing for value. We're good.
Welcome to the team.
We're going to lose our Quinn Bird. That is on the more unfortunate side of things.
Your best, okay? Welcome to the team.
We have to bring some serious thunder next turn. But it's like the double Cithri attack isn't enough to win the game here. Right, he still has 2 blockers, so he blocks both of our Cythrias and only takes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have to do something with these Bright Steels.
My shield is yours.
And I was really counting on getting a barrier on Quinn, getting a barrier on the Quinn bird, getting a good scout attack in, you know, hooking down one of these smaller units, and then getting a re-attack with all of our challengers onto these other elusives, but not coming together. I wonder if we ever boom him with the Stony Suppressor. There's no way. There's no way the Suppressor gets things done this turn.
You're covered.
So he's doesn't have anything big enough to kill Cythria. There's no reason to give her a barrier. It's kind of same thing applies to Quinn. We could look to prevent damage. Maybe we should just prevent the damage coming onto Quinn. So if he has a pokey stick or something, he doesn't get the kill on her. But be attacking with everything.
Heal is yours. Follow my lead.
Look the elusive. See what happens. Interesting. I was not expecting these elusives to actually get into combat. I guess he does have to prevent some amount of this damage, but like the 5/5 has a good block on a 4/3, and we just aren't chunking enough in. Right, that's not lethal there. It takes him to 5. I'm really surprised. Like, I wonder if he has another like Poro cannon in hand. It's like, why wouldn't he throw away his Yordle Captain in front of Cythria as opposed to this 2/2? I don't know. I feel a lot better about this board, though. Getting 2 of the elusives off of it. He had 7 damage when we were at 9.
Hello, anyone want to join my party?
All right. It's gonna be 2 more 4/4 Yordles, isn't it? We're gonna get hit with 10 elusive through the at Poro cannon.
Here I am. Wherever here is. Show them what we're made of.
Interesting. Not how I expected that one to go. At the end of the day, I'm just going to say that the Stony Suppressor boomed him. there's no 2 ways around it, right? That's completely what got him. Nice. Yeah, that's so good. The Golden Aegis. Now, I was intending on playing the Vanguard Sergeant plus 4 Demacia. I think I'm still in the same boat. Really need the +3/+3 to combat all of these units. So let's just overwrite the Suppressor. It's not really doing anything here. And we'll play 4 Demacia. The nice thing with the 4 Demacia is we get to attack with Quinn. She'll flip and survive in the attack. Excuse me, he must block her as well.
Still heart, steady aim. No one escapes my aim.
Curious if we shouldn't have just attacked with everyone here, but it's not like a super strong attack if everyone, like, we send in everyone. He has blocks on pretty much everything. Does he just have another Fizz in hand? Like, why else would he throw away his Fizz? That seems like the path to victory here is the elusive attacks with Fizz and with the Daring Poro. Like, I could see the blocking with the Daring Poro if he doesn't think that he can survive the turn. Like, he can see us coming in with a full Fearsome attack, and if he needs to get big units on the board to block everything, like, that makes sense. But he doesn't play anything? We just need to get one unit through. Interesting.
Right on! Nothing stands in our way.
So we can attack like this. This is going to summon the Quinn bird. The Quinn bird will hook Lulu. Is that what we want?
Gotta survey the battlefield.
Not really.
Just like hunting thresher geese.
Alright. No Quinn bird.
Don't let them reinforce.
Our dudes are so big. I mean, I guess let's get through this with like a wallop. That's what's saving the game from just being over. A wallop or a stress defense or something. Just doesn't have it. Alright. Nice. Nice little 75% win rate with the old scouts today. So yeah, we can get this pulled up and talk about it a little bit more. Again, like my stance on the scouts is, you know, when you see it on the meta report and it's hanging around like 55%, it's just because people aren't playing it enough today. It's still quite strong in my opinion. I think it should probably be up in the A tier, if not in the S tier. Lived in the S tier throughout the entirety of the old format. And the thing that kind of makes it appealing is the bad matchups out of the old format were the Pantheon deck. There's not too much Pantheon running around, although he should be shooting up in the meta as well. Pantheon should be quite strong against the scouts, or not against scouts, against the Sundisk. It's not that great, I think, against the Riven decks. It should have the answers to beat the Riven decks. It might just need to meta in some stress defenses or wallops or whatever they play. I think they might play stress defense because it's useful on your own units, but they might play wallop because it's useful in overwhelm attacks. I don't know. I don't play too much Pantheon, but we're talking about the scouts here today. And again, you know, our big friend was the Stony Suppressor. We didn't run into a lot of the decks to where it's incredibly powerful. You know, we did in that game one against the guy playing the Vile Feast deck. Anybody playing Shadow Isles is going to be pretty upset when you drop the Suppressor. Anyone playing anything that generates cards, so a lot of Bandle City, a lot of Noxus get a little bit upset about seeing it as well. But my thing with it is it doesn't feel like we're cutting out too much to make the room for it. We're just cutting out other small units, right? You'd be playing like the Tattered Bannermaker, more Marai Wardens, might play another Genvivi or something. And it's not like it's a big loss to fit this in, but it just annihilates so many decks whenever it turns up. And so still a humongous fan of it. That's what we've been preaching for the past few months. If you are one of our regular viewers, you're just like, Bust, you're so smart. We've been seeing the Suppressor for the past 5 weeks, and it really just revs up my loins every time I see you drop it. And then these new people are like, oh shit, I feel a tingle. I feel a tingle. I see what this is about. And so that's who we're all about here today. And so yeah, not too much about this otherwise. You know, it still feels like the Scouts decks from old. Everything here is still pretty powerful, still follows a lot of the same principles. And so if you left around the Rising Tides or something and then you've just come back in, this is a pretty good deck to just take the reins with and run like you did back in the old days. Again, this is a fantastic ladder climber. I think it's pretty good and just across the board, pretty underrated. And we'll see it shoot up in the meta here shortly as people get tired of playing the Sundisk. But that is going to do it for us today. So I hope everyone enjoyed the video. You maybe learned how to suppress your scouts a little bit better. Maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.